Hello! Hi everyone! Happy Monday! Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time when we can relax and craft together and work on a project together from beginning to end, and craft that happy life. So thanks for joining me again, guys, here. We are going to work more on the Splendid Sampler 2. I have a bunch of unfinished blocks, and I am going to work on the Milk and Cookies block tonight. So I'm going to show you the blocks that I have finished and unfinished so far. We are up through block 10, and we're going to work on the Milk and Cookies because I think I can get that done real close to being done tonight, and that'd be nice to have a win. So that is the plan, and we'll go from there. So thanks, guys. I'm going to flip you around. We'll get going. Oh, and just to let you know, those mass drop grippets are back. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about them. They do ship overseas. The grippets these are the grippets. You get two. And they're free for free motion quilting, so they have like little grips on the bottom, and you can free motion quilt without the gloves. You guys are always asking about them, and I love mine, and they are up on Mass Drop right now, so go check that out. I do have a link underneath here in the Facebook if you wanted to check that out. Woohoo! All right, so let's do the Milk and Cookies. Oh, now you want some Milk and Cookies, Paula. Yeah. It's always fine for Milk and Cookies. I could always use some of those. So, all right, thanks for joining me, guys. Here we are. Oh, Gretchen, so we have been having storms. I actually drove from my parents' house today, and we missed the storms the entire way, but oh my gosh. Last night, it was thunderstorms all night long, and I hardly slept at all, so blah. All right, so guys, these are my finished and unfinished. I know they eavesdropped on us again, right, Bonnie? We talked about the mass drop, the grippets, on Friday, I think, and now here on Monday they're up there. So, okay, we have Flowering Tree. I am done with half of that one. I store them all in this binder, and I have all the unfinished ones in front, and then I have this little divider, and then all my finished ones are afterwards. So my unfinished ones are the Flowering Tree. For the Love, I think this one will work on tomorrow if we finish Milk and Cookies today. I know there was a request, someone requested for me to work on the For the Love one again. So this is English paper piecing, so that's probably what we'll do tomorrow. Oh, I got this little Ellie here still. This is block number 4, Balance. He needs all his embroidery around it yet, stitching everything down. And, oh, this guy's got a long way. This is Clamshells. We have to do all the embroidery here, and I only have 3 of the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there's 10 clamshells total. So we'll do that at some point. And here we go, Milk and Cookies, block 2. I'm just going to pull out the block here. So this is all done except for stitching it down, and it looks like maybe I have a thread. Did I start here somewhere? Oh no, that's just a little thread. Okay, oh yeah, here, right. Is this a thread? Oh yeah, there we go. We have like 4 little stitches. Or there we go. I got about 1 inch worth of stitches done. So I'm hoping we can get around that tonight and maybe even around this center area, which would be amazing. So as far as we can get on Milk and Cookies tonight, because I think that'll be the fastest and easiest one to get done. And it'd be nice to put another one in the finished pile. So here are my finished ones. I'm itching to start laying these all out and seeing what they're starting to look like as a quilt. But this is block number 1. And then I'll put 2 when I'm done on the back, and then I'll have 3 and 4. And then this is 5, point taken. 6 over here. This is the rose and dot. I think that one's just so cute. Okay, so that's 6. This will be 7. 8 is my flock. That's really pretty too. I like all of them. So 8, 9 will go here, and then this is 10. This one we finished last week. So this is our latest one. Oh, that really actually kind of mimics this one a lot. We are doing the circles. This one we did the freezer paper method, and this one we did that method where we had that fusible that we just turned right side out. So we have like those magic circles for this one, which I think is my preferred technique. If we have to do something similar to these again, it'll probably be this way of doing it. So okay, let's get stitching for tonight. Just close this up. Okay. So I need to get Zeb, our little pin cushion guy, out here. I'm going to use my straw needle again. So this is my size 11 Milner's or straw needle. It is extra long and it is nice and thin, so it'll go through the fabric really easily. The Milner's or straw needles are extra long like this compared to just a normal size needle. Like there we go. Here's kind of a little bit of the difference. And just that little extra helps for just this hand stitching. I like it. Gretchen's asking if there's a way to enlarge the blocks. You could just enlarge them by really, I guess, printing them larger. Well, some of them that have, applique things like this, you can probably just print them larger on your printer. You do have to assess the seam allowances on a lot. So, I mean, you can for sure enlarge them with some math, with some math, and that would be the way to do it. I mean, that's probably really the only way to do it, especially if it's a pieced block that just has, just sewn together pieces. So you'll have to see, okay, if there's 3 pieces here, are they all the same size? So if you enlarge it, you're going to have to just kind of figure out the proportions of that with some math. Hello, oh, from down under and from California. Oh, you were wondering if there was an app for that. Not for the specific blocks if you're looking for a calculator for this specific project. But there is, I don't know if there's an app specifically for that. Yeah, I think it's more of an algebra problem. But actually, you know what? A lot of times you can type those sort of things into Google and it'll tell you the answer. Can I invent that? Oh man, that'd be awesome. A little quick quilt calculator. I mean, there are things out there, but not for, I mean, you'd have to, not for like a specially designed block. Jennifer says, photocopy a 6.5-inch square to see how much to enlarge the pieces. Oh, that's a good idea. Well, that's for like applique though. For like, I don't quite know how you do that for a pieced thing. But for example, this is going to end up for, oh, EQ8 software would get you close. You'd have to draw the design in it though and then enlarge it, which, I mean, I suppose you could do. But if you do kind of an easy multiple, that might be a way to do it. So if this is like a 6.5-inch block. So it's going to end up being a 6-inch block when it's in your quilt. So if you wanted to go up to a 12-inch block, then you would just, you'd probably actually make a 12.5-inch block maybe. Maybe that would be an easy way to double it. But then you could just kind of multiply everything by 2. That might get you real close. You just got to keep in mind that those seam allowances, those 1/4 inches everywhere. But yeah, I keep thinking, I remember with the Splendid Sampler 1, the first one, I kept thinking that a lot of these blocks would be so cool, just blown up really huge, really big, and just have it as that being the quilt. So I have EQ, Robin. I have, I think, EQ7. I've only used it a couple of times, and I find it super hard to use. But the people who really know it, I think, find it really easy. For me, it's not. It doesn't like use the same language as a Mac or a PC or anything really. Like the key commands are different, so it just feels like a whole new system to use. But I know a lot of people like it because they can get fabric quantities and stuff that get relatively close. And I know a lot of people like it for designing foundation paper piecing. You can do a design, like if you do a square, it will tell you it'll tell you the pieces to cut out and stuff. But it kind of does it as like little triangle. Like it's not gonna do the tricks like half square triangles, cutting, like making two half square triangles from squares sewn together and then, you know, sewing on either side of the diagonal. It's not gonna have like tricks like that when it figures out the fabric stuff. It's gonna make a little triangle for you for the half square triangle. So I don't know, it's a little goofy. If you can get your hands on it, Robin, and you know, maybe a friend has it or something, or you can give it a test, or maybe they have a 30-day trial or something. I'm not sure, but give that a go. It takes a bit of a learning curve for the different kind of software. But if you're really interested in designing a bunch of your own blocks or your own quilts or your own foundation paper piecing, it would be pretty fun. A pretty fun deal, especially where it can tell you pretty quickly how much fabric you need. But you do have to adjust if it's telling you how to do it in a certain way, and that's not your plan of doing it, but it's fun. You can actually load in swatches of fabric too, and you can kind of make a mock-up of what the fabric or what your quilt will look like with that fabric. So you can change, I think you can change colors pretty quickly. So if you are, you know, good with computers and willing to take a good amount of time to learn the ins and outs of the program, since it's not super intuitive, and you're interested in designing some stuff, it would be a fun little deal. And you know, EQ8 is out now, I think, and I don't know what the difference is with that. And I think EQ7 has been around for a while, so I don't know if they've done. I don't know if there's like EQ, you know, 7 early version and an EQ7 later version or anything. I got mine several years ago, so it might be outdated. I'm not sure. So I don't know the changes in the EQ8. But I know a lot of people use that to design their quilts in. That's a good idea if you're enlarging something, especially if you're gonna do several for a quilt. Make sure to do one to make sure your measurements and your math were right. It's a good idea. Ooh, you guys, I ate a caramel apple today from the apple orchard that I used to work at when I was little. And they have the best caramel apples. So that was my first little bit of fall is coming. Oh, it was yummy. Caramel apple and an apple muffin, but it's really all about the caramel apples for me there. Yum. So good. I could have eaten like 3 of them. They have the best caramel. That's what I used to do. I used to make the caramel. So we would just get like these big caramel blocks, and we just had to we put them in the, stir them in the crock pot with milk, and we'd keep adding milk until they were, I don't know, the right consistency or something. Yum. And they have goats that you can see, and I saw a kitty. Ooh, I got to see Chad the kitty when I was visiting my parents, and that's always nice, getting to see Chad. I like Chad. Chad's my mom and dad's. It's a stray cat, so it's outside, but it's super friendly. It may have another family, but we don't know for sure. But we'll call for it, and it'll come out from the field or from the woods, and then I'll get a pet Chad. His name's Chad because he was really chatty, chatty when he first started coming around. Would meow all the time. He'll still meow if he wants your attention. All right, we are not quite halfway around. I'm running out of thread here, so we'll probably get about halfway, which is, well, halfway is about right here. I'll get a little past halfway before I get a new thread. So we do have that piece of fabric underneath, that fusible, and then we have the fabric on top. When I'm stitching, I'm trying to only grab that top piece of fabric, not the fusible underneath, because I want to be kind of pulling that top fabric down around that fusible so you don't see that edge of the fusible. So I'm just trying to grab that top. I'm still experimenting, Tracy, in what batting I like the most. My mom and I had bought a big roll of the bamboo binding, which was really soft and super drapey, so I liked that, but it did a lot of that bearding. So bearding is, if you guys ever notice, if you're working with batting and it looks like some of the batting, like teeny bits of fluff or whatever, are coming to the outside, like it's just appearing, like especially if you have a dark fabric in your quilt and just it looks like the fuzz is just coming through the fabric. You can see it on the dark part and you just don't know how it's getting out there. That's called bearding. So some battings do that more than others. I don't really know what ones do that more or less, but the bamboo, even though I liked it, it did that bearding. So for the Charming Chevrons quilt, I used that cotton, what was that? Warm and Natural, was it that? I think it might have been that Warm and Natural kind of unbleached batting that was only fulled, or like it was needle what is that called? Needle felted. So it didn't have like the scrim on it. It didn't have a little plastic thing, plastic feeling scrim on it. I don't know how good or bad that is with the bearding yet, but that's pretty drapey too. So that I have not washed my Charming Chevrons quilt yet, Robin. So we'll see how that goes yet. I just haven't had a time to sit down and trim all the threads. I want to do that and make sure, there was those little parts on the edge. I went over on the quilting a little too much on 2 rows, so I need to kind of, undo some of those free motions and tuck them or tie them in a knot and tuck them away, or use that thread, what was it called? That thread bit that makes the threads, it kind of repairs the ends of the threads, so I don't know, it won't fray, like that special fraying stuff or something. I forget what it's called, but I have to see if I can find some of that. I might have some around somewhere. So there's that. Yeah, so there's, oh yeah, that fray stop type stuff. So I don't know which way I'm going to do it yet, but I got to do that yet, all of that, and then once I got all those things trimmed and figured out, then I'll give it a wash, and I just haven't gotten to yet. Fray check. That's what it is. Yep. Fray check. So we'll search around, see if I have some of that. Otherwise, I'll have to go snag some. I have to go out and about tomorrow. Maybe I'll try and grab some. Oh yeah, so then there's different lofts of batting. So lofts just means kind of like how thick or thin the batting is. So, you know, like if you want a really poofy quilt, you know, a lot of times people use it for baby quilts, so it poofs up. Like you can machine quilt an area really tight, and then if you don't machine quilt the next area as tight, then that will be like super poofy if you use a high loft batting. So that's an option when you're thinking of battings. Do I want it poofy, or do I want it to lay really flat? A thinner low loft batting would be that. And then you want to think of, you know, how warm or cold you want to be. I mean, I think with the bamboo, that was a pretty light batting, but I mean, if you're going to use like a wool batting or something, that will keep you nice and toasty. So I don't know much. That's about all I know. I don't know much about specific brands, I guess. So that's kind of what I'm experimenting with. I mean, my mom and I had that bamboo roll for so long that I haven't really used much else. I have like a polyester batting that I have scraps of from even before then. So I think, so for some smaller quilts, if I can still Frankenstein those pieces together, sometimes I use that, like for baby blankets or something. But yeah, I'll wash up this I forgot what it was called again. That Warm and Natural. I'll wash the Charming Chevrons quilt, and we'll see how that Warm and Natural does for bearding. But so far, I don't think I see much coming through like I did with the bamboo. But that bamboo was so light and drapey, and it was kind of neat that it was made out of bamboo. And so I like that one too, but used all that up. So I think we're just going to kind of see if we like this Warm and Natural, and then maybe get a roll of that. It's just kind of nice having around. Big old roll. All right, I should probably stop here soon. I'll get past this seam here, but I'm going to need a new piece of thread real quick here. Yeah, it thundered and lightened a little bit this evening, and I thought it was going to rain, but it hasn't done anything yet. But, oh man, last night it poured and poured. I think by my parents' house we got, I mean, it rained for like 30 minutes in a huge chunk, and we got like an inch from that. And I think overnight it was something like 3 inches the next morning. So that is a lot of rain. That's more rain than I've seen this summer. So it was like those heavy storms where it's just thunder and lightning and giant raindrops. So that was supposed to kind of follow us all day today, but we missed it the entire car ride. Thank goodness, because that is the worst, trying to drive in that stuff. I hate it. That's the worst. You just can't see the road because it's so rainy. That's just super dangerous. And it always follows the highway that we drive on, which stinks too. So we got lucky. We missed it completely. And we're supposed to get it here quite a bit tonight, but I don't know. It hinted at it like a half hour ago, but it fizzled out again. So maybe nothing. All right, I'm just tying a few knots here. Here you can kind of see another, like, why we're making our background piece a bit bigger though, because look at how much is being sucked in as we hand stitch, just from the act of hand stitching and handling it. And we have I have to pull that little lip over so we don't see that edge of the fusible here. You know, we don't want to see that stitched edge. So that's why I'm just grabbing the top thread, because it kind of pulls it down over it. But look how much that's pulling the fabric. So like if I really flattened this and pushed all the fabric in, there would be a lot of extra fabric here. And that's pulling the fabric, you know, it's shrinking the fabric because it's pulling in the edges. So that's why sometimes with the hand stitching like this, the needle turn projects, that's why sometimes I'll make the block a little bit bigger. So we made this a 7-inch block, I believe, instead of our normal 6.5-inch, just because I knew we were going to be sucking it in as we go. So I think that was a good idea. It's getting a little ripply, but I think with a good pressing we'll be okay. So all right, thread right here. Okay, and get a little bit of that. Oh, send the rain to Australia. Yeah. Okay, I'm blowing it. I'm blowing it to you right now. Whoosh. The fair is going on. The Minnesota State Fair is going on right now, and I think some stages got rained out this evening too. But then it just fizzled away. Nothing like at my parents' house where it just went on forever. I couldn't sleep hardly at all. So that's why I needed a good just hand project. So a non-thinking handwork project tonight. I don't think I would have, if we had a new block that had a lot of measuring and cutting, oh man, I don't think I could have done it. This is the perfect craft for me tonight. Just stitching this edge. Oh, it's a super fun fair, Gretchen. It's just neat, and the people here just love it. I have friends that go almost every single day, which I don't know. I think it's fun, but it's not the end of the world for me if I miss it or anything like that. But that's the big part of summer here for sure, for a lot of people. I love seeing I like seeing all the animals, and I like going to see the arts and crafts building and like where the art is. But I like seeing all the quilts and all the crocheting and all the rows of pies that everyone's making. I like that building. So the animals and that building are on the far sides of the fair, so I get to kind of see everything in between, except for the rides, which are even further than the animals. And I've only done that at the fair once when we went with a friend and his daughter, and I went on one of those rides, like the chairs that go way up in the air and then, you know, spin you, so you're centrifugal forcing on these swings in the sky, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm up for any of these things anymore. Oh, it was 60s over there in the weekend. Yeah, that's chilly. Not last year, but a few years ago, I got a second place ribbon at the state fair here. I entered that doily that I crocheted using my grandma's pattern that she always used, and I even used her crochet hook, and I stitched it. I made the doily out of I had a whole giant jar, like a huge jar of just random embroidery floss scraps. So I made the whole thing out of embroidery floss scraps, which was insane because you have to tuck in all those scraps. So I must have tucked in like 1,000 little ends You know, you can't just start and the ends just go away. You have to weave in every single start and end of each thread, which that was insane. But it was this really bright, colorful doily, and I love it. It's just sitting around here. I'd love to do something with it. But I got me a second place ribbon for that one. That's the only thing I've ever. I entered that same year. I got my little fox embroidery that's on the cover of my book. That was in the fair too. But my ribbon was for the doily, which was pretty fun. So that's the only time I entered anything. And I think in college I might have entered something into the art area, like some photos or something. But I don't. That was a long time ago. I for sure, I don't think I got anything. Well, was it in actually now? I don't remember. That was a bit long ago. I don't remember what happened with that one. But I'm pretty proud of my little doily. So that's fun. I love that. Yep, it's the state fair. It's the state fair, Gretchen, in St. Paul here. On the state fairgrounds. That's fun. Yeah, it is fun to go. I'm not sure we went last year, but I don't know. We're not as invested in it as a lot of people are. But when we get to it, it's fun. It's fun walking around but I don't get all the food. I mean, you go there for the food because the food is always crazy and actually some of it's really good and you know, they have the Aunt Martha's, I think it's Aunt Martha. No, that's Aunt Martha's the embroidery. What is the place that has the whole pile of cookies? I think Bonnie, you mentioned it. Sweet Martha, that's what it is. Sweet Martha. Like, it's not Aunt Martha. Sweet Martha, I believe. So Sweet Martha's cookies, I think that's one of the big mainstays there. People just, it's just a whole giant, it's a big old container, this huge bucket of chocolate chip cookies. There has to be at least 30 cookies in there, and people get those for themselves, and they're just walking around with these Sweet Martha's cookies. But they're baked right there. I think they go through something like, it's like something nuts, like 4 million eggs a day or something completely ridiculous for these cookies. But we always get the pretzel. They make these pretzels. There's this Bavarian pretzel place there. Oh, they probably have a fried buttered thing. There's a whole lot of things on a stick. That's the big thing. So everything's on a stick except Sweet Martha's isn't on a stick. Oh yeah. I've made several of those doilies with her needle and her thread. I actually have a bunch of her old thread and I've been using that to stitch it and that's just every couple of years I start one of those up again. And I just love making those. Smoked turkey leg. So I don't think funnel cakes are as big or turkey legs are as big at our fair, but there's tons of other big things. Yeah, honey cotton candy. Ooh, wow, that's fancy. Candy apples. Nope, none of those things I think are the big Minnesota things at all. It's the things on a stick. There's like a Snickers on a stick. I don't know what the big thing on a stick is this year. They always do something new. But yeah, I mean, if you ask any Minnesotan and you ask them what's the big thing to get at ours, it's probably the Sweet Martha's giant freaking bucket of cookies. It's a whole huge bucket. I do not know how people can eat those. Now I have just food issues with all that sugar and that sort of stuff that, I don't know, going to the fair freaks me out a little bit because I just don't know what I can eat there. It's just all too much. But it's been fun in the past to go. That's just the thing. But I love seeing all the animals with, you see all the fancy chickens with the fun little you know, all have different tufts on the top of their head. It's just all fun. Ooh, yum. Noeline, that sounds yummy. Fancy scones and stuff. Yeah, so that's fun too in the craft where, you know, where all the quilts and all the doilies and all that are. I mean, that's always really fun. But that's also where all the food is. So the food prizes. So, you know, who's got the best raspberry jam? And then there's just like 100 raspberry jams there, and someone's got to vote on all those, you know? Yeah, Gretchen, I can't eat any, well, without getting really, like, sick. Not really, really sick, but sick where I do not want to be anywhere except for home. The fried foods and sugar and the bread type stuff, which is everything, right? All the grain, bread, fried, and sugar stuff. So that leaves me with 0 things to eat, right? Like 100% 0 things to eat there. So that's always in the back of my head, like, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? But I like seeing the animals, like seeing the crafts. It's fun just watching people. We've gone to a concert there before, and that was fun. That was a while back. But yeah, it's definitely a good fair. It's one of these good ones. Oh, corn on the cob. So I do get they have corn on the cob there that they roast on the fire, and oh man, so the corn on the cob is great. So I do have that, but even that is a lot of almost too much, like, sugars and stuff sometimes. So all of that, and there's only, you know, you're not gonna satiate all your hunger with one corn on the cob there, but yummy, it's good. Look at coffee. There's a place that has good coffee there. All right, I'm done with this outside here. I think let's try and see how far we can get on the inside. I'm gonna tie it in a little knot here though, and we'll start fresh on the inside. Just grabbing a little bit of that background fabric that we won't see. I do like seeing, sometimes they'll have like a room full of irises, you know, that are all getting judged on too. You know, how do you judge all these irises? And then, you know, they always have a big pumpkin. But yeah, I like seeing the animals, but that's, you can only stay in there so long because my husband has kind of reactions to all the animals. I mean, it's, you know, it's a lot of animals, and yeah, we just get super stuffy, and so I don't know. We are not made for the fair, the both of us. It's just silly. I think it's fun. It's just, you know, I don't need to go every day for the whole fair, and if I miss a year or two, I'm not like traumatized by that. But it's fun. I like it. I'm going to use this same thread here. I don't know if it'll quite be enough, but I think it'll get us almost there. Oops. Let go of my little knot. Oh, your dad was a pilot and you had to look at old airplanes all the time. Not fun. Did he ever go to the EAA, Gretchen? That's kind of near my parents. The EAA is a big airplane. It's called the Experimental Aircraft, so EAA. But, you know, everyone just calls it the EAA. And it's huge, and it's in summer every year. And they do air shows, and people camp, and they camp with their airplanes next to them. And I think there's music. It's a whole thing. And that was always big when we were little, but... So I wonder if he made his way to that air show. Oh, he might have trained there at one point. Oh, funny. Oh, your dad would go and you would go to the boxing tent. He was a wrestler. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, your dad went to the EAA. Oh, Dad would have loved that. Oh yeah, he loved planes but couldn't fly. Oh, because of high blood pressure. Yeah, I remember we would go to the EAA and it's in the experimental aircraft, right? So there would always be these crazy little one-man things, gliders, and oh gosh. People would be camping underneath the gliders. And then there's the EAA, there's a museum right next to where all this happens, so you can actually go there anytime and, learn a lot about airplanes and stuff. And I should go do that again. I remember that being really interesting. Lots of fun summer stuff to go see. Oh, your dad went to Oshkosh and was a member of the EAA. Oh, that's awesome. Yep. I know all about the EAA. For funny. Yeah, it's huge. People come from all over for it. We weren't in Oshkosh, but we were close enough that they would, like some of these formations, like all these planes, like these old bombers and old whatever, would do these formations for the show, and they would set up and practice above our house sometimes, so we could see them practicing and setting up their formations before they'd keep the formation over the EAA. So we weren't actually in Oshkosh, but we were close enough that we'd get a hint of that time of year. You hear some airplanes, and then you go out and look up to see if there's just some planes doing something cool for practice for the show. Kind of neat. Or you hear an airplane and you're like, that's not a jet. That's some weird airplane. Let's go see what's out there. Ah, these just look so much more finished when they're stitched down. I'm excited about this. So watching is cool. Plane museums, nope. Oh, funny. So you just had to go to all those airplane museums. Oh, crop dusters. Oh, man. My grandpa had one of those, I think. Back when he had a farm, he had an airplane. So I'm stitching through quite a bit of thickness here. I don't think I'm going through, oh yeah, so I'm not. Every once in a while I might be accidentally snagging a little bit of my back piece, but I'm really kind of only going through this front applique piece to grab this. Actually, if, this might feel too bulky for you, so you can actually you can like lift this away and then trim. So there's about like a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I could cut out that piece. If I wanted to do that, I probably should have done that first before doing this middle piece, because I'm accidentally catching some little bits around here. So I would if I wanted to cut the back piece out so I had just one layer of fabric instead of all my layers of fabric that I'm doing here, after stitching this piece down, I would have cut this out and then stitched this one just through the now one layer of applique fabric, which would now be our background. And then I would maybe cut that little circle out too. So we'll try that on one of the other blocks. I didn't end up doing it for this one. This one will just end up being a thick block with lots of layers of fabric. I'm sure it's not going to be the end of the world. Oh, you remember on this block you had a hard time keeping the sides the same. The sides. What do you mean? Like keeping the circle in the center, or what do you mean by the sides, I guess? You like it puffy? Yeah, I think it's kind of fun this way too. And it's one less step I have to do. That's always nice. Oh, keeping the segments. Oh, the segment's the same size. How did we do these segments? I think we sew them all together. Did we? I'll have to look at, I don't quite remember how we did these segments. I think we just sewed like 2 together and then next 2. Oh, yeah, so stitching that circle around, that helped keep this circular bit happening. But yeah, like by sewing that circle and then turning it right side out, that got rid of any mistake that I had on the outside, and any mistake I have matching these up on the inside is just being covered up by this guy. So all my mistakes are hidden. No, these were not paper pieced. These were sewn, if I remember right, because we sewed 2 sections. Yeah, they're sewn. I can tell those aren't my stitches, I don't think. I think these are machine stitches. Yeah. So we machine sewed these segments together. Oh, the low contrast is really pretty on this block. Oh, very effective. Oh, that's good. Thanks, Jenna. That's kind of, I want this whole quilt to feel really low contrast. So it's been a little bit of a struggle to make sure that there's a difference between the background and the foreground, and even more foreground pieces. It's been a little bit of a challenge because I do want it to overall be very pale. And in any other quilt, this would be a light color, but in my quilt, it's actually a dark color. So that's been a little challenge, is doing it all with these lights. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it was, Noeline. We cut them out, and then we sewed 2 together. Then we sewed, we sewed them in segments of 2, and then we sewed segments of 2 into a segment of 4. Then we had 3 of those, and we sewed those 3 together. Then we had a little donut when we were done. That was all machine stitched. All right, we have about 10 more minutes, and I think we might be able to get real close to getting this done. That background fusible keeps wanting to kind of be towards the front, so I'm having a little more difficult time on this one grabbing just the top fabric to kind of pull it down over. So faster, I know. I want to get it all cut out tonight too. Should probably give it a little press. Here, I'll turn on the iron. There, just turned on the iron. Luckily, everything's within an arm's reach, so that's good. I haven't even cleaned up after the last block 10, so this worked out perfect that we're just doing more hand stitching. But I have the iron within arm's length and my wool pressing mat and everything, so. And the cutting board is still here. So yeah, if I am speeding up a little bit more. I would like to get this done and trimmed down and in my binder as done. That would be nice. Yeah, and then tomorrow we'll do the, what is it that I love? Oh man, what was that one called that has the I love in it? That's like the little tulips that are English paper pieced around that little mini square. We'll start that one up tomorrow. And we'll work on that one for Tuesday and Wednesday. Then Thursday will be the new block. So I'm hoping this time there's actually a new block. Last week we didn't have a new block. It was actually, they did a giveaway instead on the splendidsampler.com. For the love, that's what it was. For the love, we'll work on that one tomorrow because I know someone requested it. They were having trouble with it a little bit, so we'll do a little overview of that one again and get some more on that. I'm kind of equally unfinished in all my other unfinished ones. This is the only one that looked like almost that looked like I could almost get it done, and I think we will get it done tonight. So So after this one, they all look like it'll be multiple times to get it finished. I'm not sure if they chose a winner for that giveaway. If I had to guess, they will maybe do it on Thursday, but I don't know that at all. If you want to know if they did it, or go check out the splendidsampler.com. If it would be anywhere, it would say there. But I have a hunch that they'll probably announce it on Thursday when they have the new block out. All right, we're almost around. I think the 10-minute mark will be just right. So I'm either getting better, or I'm either getting good at estimating how long things will take, because this in theory will have taken the exact amount we needed it to take, or it took like the exact amount of this hour-long session that we have, or I am like subconsciously using up the exact amount of time available to me. One or the other. But either or works, I suppose. You have 4 to catch up on. I think after this one, it might only be 4 for me on once I catch up with this one. It was 4 or 5. We'll check again. Can't quite remember. It's at least 4 though. I know it's not less than 4. It's all hand work and embroidery stuff is stuff I'm behind on. But that's, and then that foundation paper pieced one. But that's always what I'm going to be behind on is all these little handworky things, which that's how it goes. Some blocks are just quick and some blocks aren't. But if we get super far behind, then my appliques will start being all fusible applique instead of the needle turn, because that's a way faster applique. So you'll see once I start getting antsy of having too many unfinished ones, I'll be using the quicker ways of doing things, the less handwork ways. But there we are. Okay, so let's press this quick. I got a few little pointy nubbins in there, but all in all, I think these circles turned out pretty decent. So all right, let's head over here. I still have my best press sitting out here. Move all these fellers. Okay, I think I'll just, we'll give it a press on the front, I suppose. I'm mostly just concerned about getting this background area kind of as flat as I can. Because, we did kind of bunch it up quite a bit. Let's try pressing it this way. All right, let's trim it down. Jennifer, you got 10 to catch up on. Funny. All right, so I think I will trim it on my little rotating cutting mat again. That works super well. Then I can keep everything in place. I don't have to keep rotating. Let's see, what would be the top? I don't have to keep, when I make a cut, I don't have to move the whole thing and remeasure. I can keep the ruler on here and keep cutting. All right. Not that it matters what the top and bottom is, but I think we'll pretend that that's the top and the bottom. I think that's pretty. So, all right, so here's the trick. I want to try and center the circle as much as I can, and it may have gotten jiggered one way or the other as we stitched. But look, so this is a 6.5-inch ruler, which is the size that we need to cut our blocks to. We added quite a bit around, so that's great because it did shimmy a hair. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, I think like 3/4 of an inch to the top and 3/4 of an inch here. So it looks like to center it, I need to kind of be 3/4 of an inch all the way around. And I kind of want to be along one of these seams, even though I'm not sure I matched those up really well. So I'm going to just go based on that 3/4 inch outside area. I think about like that will do. Oh, or we have these angles. Maybe those should line up. Yeah, I should probably be lining up I should probably be lining up these 4 corners. But I still kind of want that, I want that circle as centered as possible. So I'm gonna try and line up these 4 corners, but still have kind of double checking that I have that 3/4 inch all the way around, and I'll just nudge it a little bit. So it won't be perfect, but I think that's about where we'll go. Okay. Push that down. Okay. First piece. Ooh, I nudged it a little bit. Okay. Two. I made, oops, geez, this isn't working at all. Usually I can keep my hand pressure on here and rotate all this, but I'm not doing a good job of that tonight. I don't quite know how much bigger I made it. I mean, these are half square triangles, it looks like, so those I can just make, I don't have to be exact with how much bigger I make it. They can just keep extending and it'll be okay. So I'm not quite positive how much bigger I made this, but I think it looks like it ended up being at least around 7 inches. So, all right, there we go. Most of them, so these points look, this top and bottom point looked like the seam went to the point. This one's maybe a little off, but overall, I think we got it relatively centered in there. And I think we will be, we're gonna be good at calling this done, I think. So, all right, I'm gonna flip you guys around and we'll take a look in my binder again to see how many unfinished ones I have now. All right, hello again, guys. So here is, yeah, done and dusted, done and dusted. So there we are. Oh yeah, so from far away you can definitely tell you got some darks, you got some, you know, just subtle, darker, lighter, and then all that's darker than the middle. So I think from far away you're still gonna, even though it's subtle, you're still gonna get that, the different values. So, all right, the ones that I don't have done yet. Okay, here we go, guys. We have the flowering tree is unfinished. So that's one. I have For the Love. This is what we're gonna work on this one tomorrow. So For the Love, that's the one with all these English paper piecing. So that's 2. 3 is the elephant balance. 4 clamshells is unfinished. Oh, and that's it. Milk and Cookies was the last one. So 4, I'm down to 4 unfinished ones. So that means I'm over 50% done. I'm 60% done even with what we got going on so far. So yay, I'm beyond the halfway point of finished blocks. So that's great. So we'll work on that For the Love one tomorrow. And this whole sequence of these videos, the Milk and Cookie videos, the last one will be going up tonight. So if you go to YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies on YouTube and want to see the whole series of the cookies, Milk and Cookies, it will be up later today, guys. And thanks for joining me again. I will be here tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time again. Good to see you after that weekend. So have a great evening, guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.